All right, good morning everyone. The time's now 10 o'clock and welcome to this ordinary meeting of the Douglas Shire Council being held on Tuesday the 31st of August 2021 at the Mossman Council Chambers. I hereby give notice that in accordance with section 277E of the Local Government Regulations 2012 that the ordinary meeting of council will be restricted in numbers of public attendance because of the health and safety reasons associated with the public health emergency involving COVID-19. This ordinary meeting of council will be available to view via live stream on council's website and will be available for others to watch at a later time. I'd like to acknowledge the Guugu people who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today, and also like to pay respect to their elders, both past, present and emerging, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians who may be listening or watching our meeting this morning. I note that we have all councillors present and we have Councillor Nolly online. I note that Councillor Nolly is joining via teleconference today as per section 254K1 and section 277C. Our acting CEO is present and we have a limited amount of staff available. We have members of the public in and we also have some media present today. Councillors, any conflicts of interest that need to be declared? No. Not today. There's no mayoral minutes. So that takes us on to the confirmation of the minutes from the previous meetings. We've got the ordinary meeting held on Tuesday the 27th of July 2021, which everyone's received copies of. If I could have a mover, please. Councillor Sconnerton. Seconded by Councillor McEwen. Anyone against? We'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
Affirmative.
Thank you. Carried. We have the special meeting held on Tuesday the 3rd of August 2021. If there's a mover, please. Councillor Sconnerton. I'm happy to second that one. Anyone against or any comments? We'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour.
And that's carried. We have the special meeting held on Monday the 16th of August. We have a mover for that one, please. Councillor Sconnerton again. And seconded by Councillor Zamataro. Anyone against or comments? We'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour, thank you.
Thank you, and that's carried as well. All right, that takes us to the agenda items as listed. We start off with 5.1. The combined development application for dual occupancy and reconfiguration of a lot, one lot into two, 56 Mudlow Street, Port Douglas. The recommendation is the council approves the combined development application for material change of use, dual occupancy and reconfiguring of a lot, one lot into two lots over land described as Lot 7, TYP, PTD, PLN 20933, subject to the following conditions that are in the document. Do we have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Sconnerton. I'm happy to second that one if I could. Councillor Sconnerton, would you like to speak to it?
No, it's pretty explanatory, thanks.
Anyone like to speak against the motion? We'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
Yes, in favour.
And that's carried unanimously. Another good development there on that side.
Thank you.
Thank you. 5.2, application representation for negotiated decision for infrastructure charge MCU limited function facility at 5146 Captain Cook Highway, Oak Beach. The recommendation is that council issues a negotiated adopted infrastructure charges notice in association for the approval of the development application for material change of use for a function facility in addition to the continuing use of a dwelling house over land described as Lot 1 on RP 742791B 5146 Captain Cook Highway, Oak Beach. Goes on with reasons for the decision, which are in the document. This one has come to us before and we adjourned it. So I'm happy to move this one. Is there a seconder for it? Councillor McEwen just got in there on that one. As I said, this one has come before us before and we had a discussion about it and it's come back now with a modified figure, which is, I think is satisfactory myself anyway. Does anyone wish to speak against it? No? All right, any other comments? We'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour.
And that's carried unanimously.
Easy one.
5.3, contractual matter, ultrafiltration cartridges for water quality. The recommendation is the Council resolves in accordance with Section 235 of the Local Government Regulations 2012 to accept a single source quotation from Occupancy Proprietary Limited, ABN 60609331008 for an amount of $253,440 excluding GST for the purchase of 52 of the Kosh cartridges, Targa 118072 PM50, and then reserve to award the contract for the purchase of the Kosh cartridges from Occupancy Proprietary Limited and delegates authority under Section 257 of Local Government Act 2009 to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate and finalise and execute any and all matters in relation to this contract. Do you have a mover, please? It's Councillor McEwen. Seconded by Councillor Scomerson. Councillor McEwen, would you like to speak to it?
No, I think it's just something that has to be done.
Anyone wish to speak against? Any other comments from councillors?
No.
Wonderful. I think this is the same as normal. This is the only company that does provide these certain ones, and that's why it comes before us. All right, so we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour, thank you.
And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, 5.4, contract 2020023 smart water meters. The recommendation from staff, excuse me, is the Council resolves to award contract 2020-023 smart water meters to Tackle Systems Proprietary Limited, ABN 641264677847, up to $670,000 GST exclusive, and then delegates authority under Section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009 to the Chief Executive Officer to negotiate, finalise and execute any and all matters in relation to this contract. Do you have a mover for this one, please?
Sure.
Councillor McEwen. Seconder, Councillor Scomerson. Councillor McEwen, would you like to speak to it?
All I'd like to say is that I think it's great that we're going to get these smart meters in. I think everyone in the room's probably had excess water bills that we've spoken about before, so hopefully this will start to solve that problem. Everyone can keep an eye on their own water.
Wonderful. Anyone wish to speak against? Any other comments from councillors?
Good project.
No? No, I have to absolutely agree with you. This is something that's long overdue, and I look forward to seeing them get put in, and hopefully it will take away this burden of water rate bills coming in that are way over the top, because the community will have availability to have constant 24-hour access to their own water bills, and they'll be able to see if there is any leaks, and it's going to be a great thing for the Shire. So we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour, thank you.
And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. 5.5, approved inspection program dog registration. The recommendation is that Council approves a systematic approved inspection program to be carried out from the 20th September 2021 for a period of not more than 6 months from that date to ensure compliance with registration requirements of the Animal Management Cats and Dogs Act 2008. I'm happy to move that one. Is there a seconder for that? Yep. Councillor McEwen. As the report says, this is a standard practice of councils. There's been at least half a dozen councils in this area that have gone through this process recently. I think it's extremely important for the staff when they do come across either dogs that have been claimed of being vicious or dogs that are claimed that are lost, that they can be tracked easily, and registration is part of the laws in Queensland, and therefore we are the policing agent, and we do need to ensure that all these animals are registered appropriately. Anyone wish to speak against it?
I just got one thing to say. I think it's a good idea what they're trying to do, and it's part of registration within shires. The only issue I have, and I know it's in the Act, but what I'd like to see is a program of exactly what areas you're going to look at. so people are prepared to know that you're coming to look at their properties. Because what I have an issue is compliance officers going into a property when no one's home and having access to their property. I know it's in the Act and they're able to do it, but I just think that we could probably be a lot more proactive with the community by giving them forewarning that they're coming out to their areas so people know that you're there. I just think that we get into a bit of trouble when we go to a property and no one's home and we go and have a look in the backyard. So I think we can be a lot more proactive with this and let the community know exactly what we're going to do and how we can do it in a friendly manner because people do get a little bit hot on the collar when, you know, they know you've been there, they haven't been home, and it's just invasion of privacy.
I did ask staff the same question, and I will pass over to Ms Roberts, since she can reiterate what advice she gave me as well.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor Kerr. Councillor Scomazon, our intention is not, in most instances, to actually enter people's properties, despite the fact that it does give us that ability under the Act. Dogs generally give themselves up by barking, so a rattle of a gate or a knock on a front door is probably going to tell us everything we need to know. Staff do have obviously access to our current dog registration data, so if the data is telling us if we can hear a dog's there and the data is telling us there's a dog registered there, then that's a tick and move on. And obviously for officer safety, which is obviously paramount, we don't want people just wandering around in people's backyards. I think the challenge with giving people exactly where we're going to be and when is that dogs will get moved, dogs will get hidden, and that kind of goes against what the program's about. So that's my only concern about that. But we, you know, obviously under the Act it gives us all of these things. We have to let people know what we're doing. This will have to be rigorously advertised if it's approved today. And that's their notice that we're coming. So I hope that answers your query. Our intent is not to be snooping around in people's backyards. It's to find dogs that aren't currently registered.
Yeah. And I think that's really appropriate that we get that across to the residents, that this isn't something that we're going to be cutting locks and padlocks to get into people's properties. It'll be simply a case of going property to property, and you, as you said, you'll hear a dog barking if there's a dog there. And if there's not a dog registered that property, straight away you know, okay, we need to make further inquiries on this property.
Yes.
And it's, you know, will be done in an appropriate manner. It's certainly not going to be a rough and tackle and just break down your doors to get your dog.
I suppose if we do a good media release on that.
Absolutely. It does need to be notified.
Out to the community, so that'll just let everyone feel a little bit more comfortable to know that what's happening. Thank you, sir.
I suppose assume that would come with like a promotion for registering your dog now.
Yes.
Before we start this process as well.
Yeah. So just to give a little bit more background, the last approved inspection program that Cairns Regional Council ran, which was in 2019, they got a huge influx as soon as they advertised of people who had forgotten perhaps to re-register, and also new registrations. So we expect that we might see the same sort of figures. And then obviously we're picking up just all the others in the program.
I will bring up one of the other comments that was brought up is the council doesn't issue tags anymore, and we do issue tags still. They're just a lifetime tag now. So if you haven't received one and you don't have a tag and you want one for your animal, contact front desk and you will be reissued a new one. But we just don't want to be reissuing plastic tags every year just for the fact of doing it. You know, it just goes against the plastic policy. So if you don't have a tag for your dog, contact front desk and they can get you a new one. Councillor Nolly, did you have anything on that one?
I just have a couple of questions, and more for the clarity of the understanding of the public, if that's okay, thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Excellent, thank you. So essentially, this power to enter into people's premises already exists, is that correct? We're just, essentially, we're having a council resolution to make it clear to the public. Is that more or less correct, Ms Roberts?
Through you, Mayor Kerr. Yes, Councillor Nolly, that's correct. A number of different acts provide this power, and it's the power to enter a property without consent. So it's not the power to force entry, and essentially it has to be done by council resolution.
Sorry, what the last thing you said?
It has to be approved by council resolution.
Okay, great. So that was the second part of my question. We actually need this council resolution to finish off the process. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Wonderful. And just to finish off, I will add that it was actually in the 21-22 operational plan that was approved by councillors to do this process as well. So with that, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
Yes, in favour.
And that's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, 5.6, the financial report for July 21. The recommendation is the council notes the financial report for July 2021. Do we have a mover for that one? Councillor Scomerson, seconded by Councillor Zamataro. Councillor Scomerson, would you like to speak to it?
Oh, no, it's all good, thanks.
Wonderful. Anyone wish to speak against? Any further comments from councillors? No? Yes, it's just the first one for the start of this financial year, so it's up. Ms. Colleen, did you want to add anything to it at all?
Excuse me. Through you, Mayor Kerr, probably just an item to note is the performance of the ferry, because obviously the town's really dropped off with all the lockdowns. So the ferry had done quite well in July, but it's going to swing pretty badly this month. We can see that already. So just a heads up on that one.
Yeah.
That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour. Thank you.
Thank you, and that's carried unanimously. Right, so 5.7, we're up to the sole specialised supplier register. The recommendation is the council resolves to approve the attached list of sole suppliers and or specialised suppliers under S235A and B of the Local Government Regulations 2012 for the supply of equipment and services for a period of 2 years, and then delegates authority under Section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009 to the Chief Executive Officer to enter into contracts, negotiate, finalise and execute any and all matters associated with in relation to sole suppliers subject to Council's normal procurement policies and practices. Do we have a mover for that one, please? Sure. Yep, Councillor McEwen. Seconded by Councillor Scomerson. Councillor McEwen, would you like to have any comments? Anyone wish to speak against? Any other comments from councillors?
Just couple of comments here. This report that we were given, this was approved in May 21. Some of the things on here have expired. Do they?
So by bringing this back now, it's basically reinvigorating for another 2 years, but I usually bring this report every 6 months to 12 months because we add and delete some suppliers. I have gone out to each department and had them review this, and they've given me any that are highlighted in yellow and are added, and you can see them with the red additions there, and any that have been wanted to be removed have been struck out. So they're the only changes that the departments have come back with.
Yeah. You're saying they've asked to be removed, is that clear?
Yeah, there's been some instances where, they're no longer the only provider or the appropriate provider, that sort of thing. So, was there anything in particular that you'd like me to...
TPDD one hasn't been updated, because we've passed that one through recently.
Yeah, so the whole register's brought back, so they continue. It's really just the items that are in yellow and red that are...
Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Nolly, do you have any questions on that one?
No, I have no questions. Thank you.
Wonderful. We'll put that to the vote then. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour. Thank you.
And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. All right, so then we move to 5.8, which is rates interest grace period extension. And there's the council resolves to endorse the extension of the interest grace period to 30 days for the current rates levies due on the 26th of August 2021, which I'm happy to move that one. Is there a seconder for it? Yep, Councillor Scomerson. Again, this is exactly what it says. It's just a grace period It's normally 8 days, I believe, and we're extending that to 30 days, so it gives people just an extra month if they are finding it difficult at the moment with the recent lockdowns and shortage of employment, but hopefully that'll assist them in still being able to get their rates paid before any interest starts accruing. By all means, though, if anyone is having hassles with paying their rates, it's so important that you do contact staff and allow the staff to give you the opportunity to work out a payment plan or do something with them rather than just leave it be. Anyone wish to speak against? Any comments from councillors?
No. The only thing I'd like to say is it's a shame we didn't bring this to the previous meeting, because most people would have paid their rates by now, so just bad timing. Maybe next year.
Well, we'll certainly keep in mind for the next one, because unfortunately, it was something that came up after that meeting.
Yeah.
So. All right, we'll put that to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour, thank you.
Thank you, and that's carried unanimously. 5.9, the draft reconciliation action plan. The recommendation is that Council approves the draft reconciliation plan, the RAP, to submit to the Reconciliation Australia for their consideration and endorsement. Can we have a mover for that one, please? Councillor Scomerson, seconded by Councillor McEwen. Councillor Scomerson, would you like to talk to it?
I would just like to say thank you and well done to Margaret and Lisa and team. This is a really good document, and it really shows the effort that we are trying to move forward with the Indigenous people in this shire. So I really like to say thank you. It's a really good, well done job. Thank you.
Anyone wish to speak against? And we'll go to comments from councillors. Any other comments from any councillors? Councillor Nolly?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. I was just close and reiterating that this is long overdue. It's a fantastic document. It actually walking the walk rather than just talking the talk, and that's what we wanted from this, and we're just so excited to see this happen. And as we've spoken about, I can't wait to see it get to the next stage and the following stage, and actually just be completed and have a full wrap for this region. Would be amazing.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour.
And that's carried unanimously. Thank you. .10, the review of black spot towers in the Douglas Shire. The recommendation is that Council resolves to formally decommission the Alexander Range television tower broadcast equipment, decommission the Daintree Village television tower on the 30th of June 2022, notify all Daintree Village residents of the tower's decommissioning is planned for the 30th of June 2022, conduct a survey of the Shannon Vale and Cassowary residents to ascertain how many residents access television channels from the South Mossman television tower, and bring the survey results back to Council to be workshopped. Is there a mover for that one, please? Yep. Councillor Scomerson, seconded by Councillor McEwen. Councillor Scomerson, would you like to speak?
No, I think that's fine. It's got to be done. So.
Anyone wish to speak against? Then we'll go to comments from councillors. Any comments at all? Councillor Nolly?
Nothing, thank you.
All right, yes, as the report says, this was a federally funded program originally that was put through to give people television access, and slowly but surely they've walked away from it and left it in council's hands, and the equipment is now at an age and a cost where it's just not beneficial to the ratepayers to be looking at constantly repairing it when we have so many other better means that people can access television from. So if anyone is concerned, please have a look at the document and of course contact staff if they've got any issues, but of course we look forward to that survey being carried out and seeing the results of that. We'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour.
And that's carried unanimously. Excuse me. All right, so that takes us through to 5.11, Resource and Performance Agreement, Reef to Reef and the Triple R. The recommendation is that Council sponsors the Reef to Reef and Triple R event with a resource and performance agreement over 3 years for A, $20,000 GST exclusive and $10,000 in-kind support per year, or B, $15,000 and $10,000 GST exclusive and $10,000 in-kind support per year, and then delegates authority under Section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009 to the Chief Executive Officer to finalise any and all matters associated with the agreement. Have a mover for that one, please. I'm happy to move that one. Seconded by Councillor Zamataro. I'll just start. The Reef to Reef and the Triple R was an event that used to run here and was very, very popular with the locals. Had a very big attendance from Douglas as well as Cairns. It was certainly missed when it stopped, and it is also an event that utilises Douglas. So it's something that starts and finishes in Douglas, and it is to me, is a very good event and something that's well worth spending money on. With that, would anyone wish to speak against it?
I've got a few questions to ask.
Okay, there's no one against them. We'll go to comments. Yes?
First, a couple of questions. We've got budget allocated for this?
Through you, Mayor, yes, we have.
We do, okay. And I see that they're going through 2 other shires. Do we know if they have provided funding as well, or it's just this shire that's providing funding?
I'll need to take that question on notice.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you, but I would like to comment.
Yeah. Because I would hate to think that that we're paying out this sort of money and we're the only shire doing it when other 2 shires have been accessed and promoted as well. So I just think for the ratepayers of this shire, the funding should be split 3 ways if that's going to happen, that's all.
Yeah, thanks for the question through you, Mayor. Traditionally, this event is very well supported by both the Cairns Regional Council, the Cairns Airport and things like that. They're part of the Ironman group. Mm-hmm. They do have a long history. It'll be this next one in 2022 will be the 10-year anniversary of the event. But certainly I'll get back to you with that information.
Any other comments from councillors? Councillor Nolly?
No, nothing, thank you.
So I'm assuming from this we need to choose option A or option B. I will add just from Councillor Scomerson's comments that one of the big issues that Douglas has always had with the Cairns Ironman is funding something that they don't finish here. Bulk of the money that is spent by these patrons is the people where it finishes the race, and we will be the ones that will benefit more so by the race finishing here in Douglas, and that's I think why a burden's put on us to contribute towards it as well. So we need to look at A or B. I'll start with Councillor Sanitaro, sorry. What's your thoughts on that?
I don't see there's much difference in either with $5,000. I'd like to ask Mr. Smith what you find appropriate that we should be putting through into it.
Thanks for the question, Councillor Zamataro, through you, Mayor. Look, as far as branding and positioning on racewear, promotional materials and things of this nature, and our ability to negotiate to include different things in the race program and on the website, I would think that the $20,000 amount for that sponsorship is appropriate to be seen as one of the principal supporters of the event. As you say, for the $5,000 amount, we do get a little bit more representation on all the race gear and things of that nature, and particularly with the potential Wongeti Trail being part of our tourism offer and our planning for promoting our mountain biking in our region. Anything that we can do to improve our standing with the event would be seen as beneficial for our promotional efforts. And the event does also finish at 4 Mile as well, and we can also negotiate some extra activities down there at Jordan Park and things of this nature if we have a little bit more say as a primary sponsor.
Activity beneficial to the Shire, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so end of race activities, those types of things. Does that answer your question?
You know, I wondered why there was two options so close, and I
So again, through you, Mayor, we had a workshop a couple of...
Yeah.
And we sort of discussed that it would be good to have a second option, you know, just to sort of find out what we could negotiate, and that was what was presented to me from the group.
Well, I'm more than happy to kick it off. I'm quite happy with option A, with the 20,000 to get the best bang for buck for this one.
The additional $5,000 is a lot more advertising.
Yeah. Councillor Nolly?
I'm happy with A, option A.
So I think we have a majority on A then.
Yeah, I think anything that's going to bring any income to the Shire, I think Mr. Smith thinks it's going to promote us a little bit more. I think for $5,000, I think it's worth looking at option B.
So we will need to move then to amend the motion. So the movement to amend the motion is to make it A, 20,000, which I'm happy to move that one. If there's a seconder for that.
Yeah, sure.
Councillor McEwen. All those in favour of amending the motion to be 20,000? Councillor Nolly?
In favour.
Okay, so that's carried. So that now is the new motion. So the motion sits that this council sponsors the Reef to Reef and Triple R event with a resource performance agreement over 3 years for $20,000 GST exclusive and $10,000 in kind support per year. Delegates authority under Section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009 to the Chief Executive Officer to finalise any and all matters associated with the agreement, which again, I'm happy to move that. And a seconder for that one, Councillor Zamataro again. So therefore that's how it sits. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour.
And that's now carried as that then. Yes, thank you very much. So we'll move on to 5.12. The Resource and Performance Agreement, a Wonderland Entertainment Leisure. The recommendation is that Council resolves to enter into a 3-year resource and performance agreement with Wonderland Entertainment and Leisure Proprietary Limited for $55,000 exclusive of GST, plus $10,000 in kind per annum to provide the Wonderland Spiegel tent for the 2022, 2023 and 2024 Port Douglas Carnival, subject to the conditions contained within this report, and delegates authority under Section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009 to the Chief Executive Officer to finalise any and all matters associated with this agreement. So we move to that one, please. Councillor Scomerson. Seconded by? Yep, Councillor McEwen. Councillor Scomerson, would you like to speak to it?
I think the Carnival, especially the Wonderland, is a great thing for this show every year because a lot of locals go to it, and I think it's that little bit extra for the Shire, and so I support this because I think it's something not just for our visitors but for our locals as well.
Anyone wish to speak against? Okay, we'll open up to comments from councillors. Any comments at all? Councillor Nolly?
Nothing, thank you.
Yep, I couldn't agree more, Councillor Scomerson. The Wonderland Spiegel tent has been an absolute asset to Carnival for the past years that it's been there. It is highly visited by both locals and tourists, which is, the whole intention of it. A lot of people go down and have dinner afterwards and drinks around afterwards and before it, and so it certainly gets its value for money for the ratepayers, and couldn't think of anything better to have there at the moment. I know she's got great intentions of growing the tent as well and doing other things with it, which is fantastic. So with that, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour.
And that's carried unanimously. Okay, 5.13, the Resource and Performance Agreement for Mossman and District Show Society. The recommendation is that Council enters into a Resource and Performance Agreement with the Mossman and District Show Society for the term of 3 years to 30 July 2024 and to the value of $20,000 exclusive of GST per annum in kind and delegates authority under Section 257 of the Local Government Act 2009 to the Chief Executive Officer to finalise any and all matters in relation to the agreement. Have a mover for that one, please. Councillor Zamataro. Seconded by? Yep, Councillor McEwen. Councillor Zamataro, would you like to speak to it?
Oh, look, I think it's a fantastic and shows integral part of Mossman society, always has been for a long time. And it's proven this year with how many people turned up. I've just got a question for Miss Golding, if I could, or Mr Smith, either. The 20,000 in-kind support, it says has been determined in Council of the President of the Mossman District Show Society. Is that the $20,000 they've said that's enough? That's...
Through you, Mayor. That $20,000 amount was negotiated a couple of years ago, and we understand, based on the requests that they've had for different in-kind work, that it's more than enough to cover the works that they've had in the past.
Councillor Nolly, did you have any comments to add?
No, I don't comment, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with Councillor Zamataro. It's a fantastic event for Mossman. It's certainly well visited, and I think it's absolutely something that council should be looking after and assisting with. I do know the performance agreement used to be $15,500 back in July 19. Did that go up for last year's? So that's gone up consistently, and now it's 20,000.
So are we, sorry, Mr. Chairman, are we cemented in with 20,000? If next year they say we need, it's got to be more, is that going to come back to council resolution?
It would have to come back to us, but certainly, that's just, I think 20,000 is a good starting point. If that's what's been agreed on, and we can certainly work with them to grow the show, absolutely. So,
Also, Mike, if I could say that it's not just for the for Mossman, it's for the Shire. Plus, you get a lot of people come up from Cairns and tablings for that weekend.
Absolutely.
And I think it's great to have this money in the Shire. We're not giving it to someone outside the Shire, so we should need to support this really strongly. So, well done.
It's actually, through you, Mayor, it's an in-kind support, so it's for council work.
Yeah.
All right, with that, we'll put it to the vote. All those in favour? Councillor Nolly?
In favour.
And that's carried unanimously. And that completes today's agenda. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending, and we will close the meeting at 10:37 a.m. Thank you.